Hey guys, so I'm gonna try and make this channel more or less on old vehicles now and a couple restorations and projects that I'm doing. So this first video, it's gonna be kind of the introduction to a new project that we're doing. We just bought this yesterday. It's, for being its age and what vehicle it is very, very solid. My dad and I purchased this as a project to do together. We're going to get the bodywork and paint done by an actual shop that does it. The frame and the chassis, though, my dad and I are going to do all that ourselves. So what it is it's a 1972 4x4 Blazer. It's got a 350 small block in it and a THM 350 automatic transmission with an NP205 transfer case, and I know a lot of people don't even know what that is or understand it. But if you were into old vehicles like this, like I am, you would know exactly what it is, and some people might even have more knowledge on it than I do. But this Blazer is actually very, very solid. Motor in it could use a rebuild, but that's common for this stuff. The motor, by what we were told, it came off of a friend's test stand because the guy built drag racers and everything, and it was just a motor to basically get it around. And yeah, it needs some work. It'd been taken apart in the past and it's kind of rough, but the actual body on the Blazer is in spectacular shape for its age. The rockers are really solid. They're not rotted through or bubbling anywhere. The quarters where they would usually rot out are all there. It's very nice. He said that it'd been, I think he said his brother started a restoration on it, and that was really the only insight that we got on it as to what happened. So we don't know if something originally happened to the guy's brother or if he just got tired of it and never finished it. But this project will probably be a year or two long thing, most generally, because it needs a lot of work, and it's just going to be something that the body shop can work on a little slowly or whenever they have time. So it is actually fairly decent. The only major body work that needs done on this right now is there is a hole in the firewall, but that was from something getting shot through it. But the interior is very rough. It needs cleaning. The nice thing about it is it's got the two original bucket seats in it. It's still got the dash, but it's been cut up, and I'm probably going to put a different dash in it because it's missing a lot of the stuff. But a lot of parts in the back. The top is all there, but as quite a bit of the rest of the vehicle, it is also very rough, and it needs replacing because it is all cracking and falling apart. So it's going to be a decent amount of money into that. Otherwise, underside of the vehicle, it is fairly decent. You probably can't see a lot, but it is actually fairly solid with 2 transmission mounts. That ain't right, but it is actually a very nice and solid Blazer. It was fairly well optioned for its time. I think more or less it was a base model vehicle. Almost no heater also, but it's not bad. We're gonna probably try and put AC into it most generally, just so it's gonna be a little nicer, and for summer cruising after this is done, it'll be a really nice solid rig to just run around in with my dad. The plan originally was, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to help me save up for college. Plan originally was with it was to buy it and basically just fix it up, get it new paint, restoration for the most part, and sell it. But we looked at it. It was such good condition. The bodywork was pretty good on it that had been done. And we just decided, you know what, we're going to keep it. We're going to use it as a cruising rig. We've got a 72 Suburban with a 402 big block in the body shop right now. Say another couple months, that'll be done. But it's not bad. And then one of the other projects that I'll try and put on this channel and work with is a 1970 Chevrolet C10 pickup. Doesn't have a motor, doesn't have a transmission. It is still a very nice pickup though, and we are actually pulling the body off to go onto a different frame, because we've got a K10 frame for it. So what a K10 is it's a 4x4. C means it's a two-wheel drive, K means it's a 4x4. But that was kind of the plan, because I've got a truck that's going to be going into the restoration shop here soon, and we just decided, you know what, let's build another one just so I've got something to drive around, so I don't have to drive a nice restored pickup around out in the field for work. But what's amazing about this truck is how nice everything closes. This is the smoothest closing vehicle that I have, at least for the doors, and the hood was really nice until we took it off. But other than that, it is very nice. Got typical rust for these: cab corners, rockers, floor, basically all need replaced, but that's typical. And the frame that we were originally going to use, the truck came from Iowa, so horrible state to get a vehicle from, but about the only option I had at the time. The frame I was going to use, these lights would turn on. Frame I was going to use actually has holes through it that I can nearly fit my fist through, so it kind of went down the trash on using this one. But it was not good. I don't know if you can see, but the frame is junk. It's cracked in many different spots. Grab a light for this one. Lord. But this one is much more solid. We're currently in the middle of a rear end swap on it, waiting on some parts from a company so we can get it all bolted back up. But we've got some plans with this one. We're gonna get it power washed here this coming week and get it painted. And then we've got to get this motor off the 4-speed transmission it's stuck to and get that into Napa and get it cleaned up, rebuilt, because by what we understand, that is an all original motor, and the one that we had first brought in was completely destroyed. It was bored, I think they said 60 over in all 8 cylinders, no sleeves. The crankshaft was warped, so that just means it was bent, and it absolutely blew apart the block, the rear end of it. It ripped out the rear main seal and blew apart the harmonic balancer on it, so it controls the timing for certain things on it. So that, it just destroyed the motor. There's 4 or 5 things that we could salvage off of it out of everything. So weren't too happy about that, because really the only thing we've gotten off of this frame right here are 2 axles and a transmission and a transfer case that we don't even know if they're any good. So we weren't happy about that, but I mean, nothing ever goes the way you want it. Nothing ever works the way you want it to, so it's always fun working with old vehicles, because you got to deal with all of the problems and everything else. But it's not a bad thing. It's actually pretty fun messing with these old things. Gives you something to do, and this Blazer is going to be my project for the next couple years, year, 2 years. But this truck, 1972 K10 Cheyenne Super, which was a pretty loaded truck for its time. This was a top-of-the-line pickup that you could buy back in the early 70s. It we bought it. It's actually pretty solid. It needs the typical body work of any of these trucks, but not bad. It went through a motor swap just a little over a year ago, and then last summer, new transmission, new transfer case, we've had nothing but problems with, because the shop that we brought it to had no idea what they were doing and really just kind of butchered it up. But this one, hopefully in the next, probably I'd say half month to a month, I'm hoping that this goes in and actually gets cleaned up, restored, because then this truck will end up being my show truck. And the one thing that I'm going to remember about this truck, well, that I'm going to keep to remember about the truck and how it looked before, is this really dented in fender. I personally don't know the story on how that happened. We bought the truck like that, a year and a half ago, I would say, and I don't even think the owner knew what happened, but I know the truck had been, I think it's 2 different ones put together now. I just know that it had been in multiple different towns, and the body came off of a 2-wheel drive frame also. So it's along the same parameters of what we're doing, but it's not bad. It's a pretty good old pickup, and this Blazer, I'm hoping that my dad and I get it done in a year or two, and then when I'm heading off to college here in 3 to 4 years, I'm just going to tell my dad that he can keep it for as long as he wants, or until he wants to give it back to me, because I know he's going to enjoy it quite a bit if he has that, especially if he ends up going up to South Dakota like he wants to retire. And this is basically what his whole retirement's built off of, is these old vehicles and motorcycles, old 100-year-old motorcycles he's been redoing. I don't know if I'll ever have any videos on any of these personally, but it is a really cool thing that him and I were working on a couple of years ago. But this is a 1937 Indian Chief. I'm fairly sure the black one is a 41, and then the blue and white one is also a 41. The black Indian was pulled out of a sand pit in Grand Island, where it had sat for I don't know how many years, and then the blue and white one came from an estate auction, and the guy that owned it died in the Korean War, but the bike had been sitting since 1953, and both of them have gone through total restoration. We've got multiple other ones that have gone through restoration that just aren't quite done yet. We've almost got them back, and then a couple that will be done soon. So it's going to be nice. But this is basically what this channel is going to be built off of, is just some projects that I'm going to try and kind of spread out over a week each time, maybe a video a week, depending on what I'm doing. So that's basically what this channel will be built off of. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, because that will help this channel greatly, and it'll spread it around more people on YouTube. See you next time.